Brazil as a nation is known for many things: its beaches, famous monuments, the Carnival, but nothing seems to captivate the world like Brazilian football players. Since the 50s, Brazil has had a long history of producing some of the best footballers ever. And like clockwork, every decade you can always count on a young Brazilian prodigy to emerge as the next big thing. Sometimes these players go on to become legends of the game, playing at the highest levels for most of their careers, like Pele and Ronaldo. Sometimes they achieve greatness, but due to personal circumstances, struggle to maintain consistency in their careers, like Ronaldinho and Kaká. And sometimes the early promise they display in their youth often does not translate to later success. Players like Pato and Robinho, who both were very promising at a younger age, simply could not improve or even maintain on the quality they displayed early on in their careers. And while all these players have had varying careers, we pretty much know where to rank them. Then there is Neymar. The reason why I say this is because Neymar, for all his obvious talent, has not really found his place amongst the world's best. Yes, he did win a Champions League with Barcelona. Yes, he's undeniably one of, if not probably the most skilled footballer on the planet. But when you ask the general public, he is either the third best player in the world right after Messi and Ronaldo, or he isn't even the best player on his team because of a certain Kylian Mbappe, which is a huge gap considering this is a guy who was tipped to be Lionel Messi's heir at Barcelona, a guy who was supposed to lead Brazil to a World Cup and win multiple Ballon d'Ors, and those are not even my words. Yet at 27, he has no Ballon d'Ors. He only has that one Champions League trophy, and is currently teammates with a guy who is already a World Cup winner and is considered on the same level as he is, not to mention the fact he's only 20. So today we will examine Neymar's career and try and figure out how good he is and where he ranks amongst the Brazilian greats. Now obviously he could go on to win a World Cup and multiple Champions Leagues, which would be great, but for all the money that has been spent on the Brazilian, all 300 million of it, and nearly a decade into European football, we ought to assess where Neymar ranks amongst the best. So let's start from the beginning. It's 2013 and the 21-year-old Neymar, who was toying with the Brazilian league, decides to move to FC Barcelona for what was reported to be 57.1 million, but later on revealed to be actually 86.2 million euros, which caused a tax fraud investigation. Neymar, who had faced Barcelona in the Club World Cup final and was already a Copa Libertadores winner with Santos, the first for the club since the days of Pele, and a Puskás Award winner for his insane solo goal, was expected almost immediately to be Messi's heir. I mean, at the time Messi was 26 and was approaching his peak. Most people expected Messi to take him under his wing like Ronaldinho had taken Messi under his wing, which Messi promptly did. In several interviews, Neymar praised Messi for showing him the ropes in Barcelona and making him feel at home. But that's the sentimental stuff, and we're concerned with his play. I remember watching Neymar in his first season and seeing the glimpses of the brilliance he possessed. It was mesmerizing. He finished his first season with 15 goals and 15 assists in 41 appearances in all competition. His highlight of the season was scoring in a 2-1 win in the El Clasico, but FC Barcelona ultimately finished the season empty-handed without a trophy. Neymar, however, had proved he could play in Europe, but there was still work to be done. The 2014-15 season would be the season he really announced himself to the footballing world. His first 2 goals of the season were scored coming off the bench against Athletic Bilbao to win the game 2-0 and clinch the 3 points. This game set the tone for the rest of the season, as Neymar showed that he had adapted to European football and was a worthy successor to Messi. Neymar that season looked unstoppable, and while they had a world-class striker in Luis Suarez, he was often the focal point of the attack, as we started seeing glimpses of Messi adopting a more deeper role. He was playing in a Barcelona team more focused on attack and hitting you on the counter. Neymar's pace and trickery made Barcelona and the Emerson attacking trio feared all across Europe. He would go on to score a career European best 39 goals while assisting 10 times. Messi, who was still the man to watch, managed 58 goals that season, but Neymar showed he was ready and able to catch up. Thanks to these impressive numbers, FC Barcelona won La Liga, Copa del Rey, and the coveted Champions League in a season that solidified Neymar as a world-class player. With that win, he made the FIFA Pro World 11 and the UEFA Champions League Best 11 for the first time in his career, and any doubts of whether he would not achieve greatness was seemingly put to rest. The following season, expectations were even higher. The 2015-16 season, Neymar continued his brilliant play, netting 31 times in 49 appearances. Now, while he might have helped Barcelona to a La Liga and Copa del Rey, he was at times inconsistent, but nothing alarming yet. So long as FC Barcelona was winning, things were fine. His final season was by his standards a bit of a letdown. Oftentimes, Neymar was criticized for not tracking back and didn't seem to offer the same potency and urge that he had displayed 2 seasons earlier. Except for one game. Yes, that game. If you're a football fan, you probably already know the game that I'm talking about, the game against PSG. Now, while everyone remembers Sergio Roberto flying across the box to toe poke the ball into the PSG net in the greatest comeback I have ever seen in my life, what people fail to remember is who ran the show that day. Neymar was the architect of that win. Even with all the brilliant players such as Messi and Suarez on the field, Neymar was the guy that seemingly pulled Barcelona from the ashes and single-handedly dragged them past PSG. The owner and chairman of PSG was present that day and was so impressed despite his team losing that he decided to get Neymar no matter the cost. Even during a subpar season, Neymar managed one of the greatest Champions League displays of all time. He finished the season with 20 goals in 45 matches, way below what was expected of him, and far below Messi, who had 54 that season. Yet despite a poor season, no one expected Neymar to leave. But in hindsight, it kind of makes sense. Ronaldinho took Messi under his wing, but while Messi continued to improve and focus on football, Ronaldinho was more focused with the nightlife and ultimately had to be sold to make way for the rising star. Messi, on the other hand, continued to consistently perform and be the main focus of the team. We have sat here and talked about how Neymar would inherit the crown from Messi and be Barcelona's star player. The problem is, Messi is Messi. He continues to defy logic and puts up astronomical numbers every year. Neymar wanted to be the star of a team, but it's very difficult when you have one of, if not the best player to ever grace a football pitch as your teammate. To put things in perspective, Neymar is 28 years old, and had he stayed at Barcelona, he would still be number 2 to Lionel Messi, who scored 51 goals last year, winning La Liga and his 5th Ballon d'Or. And I guess Neymar knew that Messi wasn't going anywhere. His desire to be the focal point of a team, coupled with the lucrative financial incentives PSG offered, were too much for the Brazilian to ignore. And what frankly started out as somewhat of a joke to be dismissed turned into the biggest football transfer of all time. 222 million euros was spent to bring Neymar to Paris. And even though he came off a season where he only scored 20 goals, somehow all that money seemed justified for a player who was 25 years old. PSG were looking to bring the Champions League to Paris, and they couldn't get Ronaldo or Messi, who are experts at winning that trophy, so they got the next best thing. Now, I could break down Neymar's career at PSG, but frankly, I don't want to. He's playing in a team that had no problem winning the French league before him, so I can't really assess his playing based on the league titles he has won. He was brought in to win the Champions League, which he and his teammates have failed spectacularly in every season he has been there. Yes, injuries have hampered his career, but unfortunately, he has not done the job he was brought for. And while he puts up astronomical numbers in Paris, there is a sense that he is not playing in a very competitive league, which somewhat undermines his claim for one of the world's best. Unlike, let's say, an Eden Hazard, who despite having a forgetful first season with Madrid, has proven himself in one of the toughest leagues in the world, showcasing his ability to play gracefully in a league often associated for its physicality. But Neymar has unfortunately been playing in a team that would not really struggle to win the league without him, and hasn't proven his value in the Champions League. Now, I know I've only talked about Neymar's club career, so what about when he plays for his country, Brazil? Neymar's record for the Brazilian national team, to put it simply, is brilliant. As of the 5th of February 2020, his record is 61 goals in 101 games and is more than likely to break Pele's record of 77 goals if he continues at this pace. The problem with this incredible record is the same problem that even the great Lionel Messi can't escape. It's the fact that his goals have not translated into trophies. Neymar and Messi both have Olympic gold medals. Neymar also has a Confederations Cup under his belt, but that has never been used to measure the greatness of a player. In Brazil, there is only one way to cement yourself as a true legend of the game: the World Cup. Pele has it, Ronaldo has it, Kaká has it, Ronaldinho even has it. And with the exception of the 1982 Brazil squad, who are considered one of the best sides to never win a World Cup, Neymar unfortunately does not have a significant trophy with his country. He could have at least a Copa America, something Messi has also failed to do, but injuries kept him out of the tournament last summer, not like Brazil missed him or anything. Whether it is bad luck or bad timing, Neymar's career has kind of been stagnant and in limbo. Nobody questions whether he's great, the skills are evident and can be seen from a mile away. But in football, just like in any other sport, you have to win to be considered one of the best. The only noteworthy trophy in Neymar's career is the Champions League trophy. If he is to go down as a legend of the game, either he needs to win a few more of those or deliver the World Cup. And with Kylian Mbappe, who has already done the latter, there's a growing sentiment in PSG that he is better than Neymar despite being 7 years younger. So while he is still one of the biggest stars in football and one of its most skilled, Neymar is in jeopardy of going down as simply a great player, which is not a bad thing for any player, but considering the early potential and promise and the skill available that everybody can see, it would be a shame not to see him win a couple of more Champions Leagues or push Brazil to a World Cup. He is 28 now and should be at his peak. With Kylian Mbappe by his side, Neymar should still have what it takes to bring a Champions League back to Paris. Otherwise, he'll just be remembered as a great player, but never truly a legend.